Welcome to our channel, where we explore the timeless wisdom of astrological traditions. Today, we're examining one of the most fascinating yet controversial developments in modern astrology, the Lal Kitab, or Red Book. If you've consulted an astrologer in India within the last few decades, you've likely encountered remedies from Lal Kitab's simple, affordable solutions like feeding dogs on Saturdays, throwing coins in flowing water, or wearing specific colors to mitigate planetary afflictions. These practices have become so widespread that many assume they're ancient Vedic traditions. But are they? The surprising truth is that Lal Kitab, as we know it today, was compiled between 1939 and 1952 by Pandit Rupchand Joshi from Punjab, making it remarkably recent compared to classical Vedic texts that date back thousands of years. This raises profound questions. Does Lal Kitab represent an authentic transmission of ancient Vedic wisdom, a creative reinterpretation of traditional knowledge, or something entirely new? What connection, if any, does it have to classical Vedic astrology? And why has it gained such immense popularity when it differs significantly from traditional practice? Today, we'll explore these questions with an open mind, examining both the claims and controversies surrounding this influential but enigmatic astrological system. Visit austriaviennapuja.com for more resources on astrological traditions. Unlike the ancient Vedic texts attributed to sages like Parashara or Jaimini, Lal Kitab has a documented recent history. According to our research, the current version was authored by Pandit Rupchand Joshi, 1898 to 1982, from Farwala village in Punjab's Jalandhar district. Between 1939 and 1952, he published 5 volumes that together constitute what we now call Lal Kitab. First, Lal Kitab Ke Farman in 1939. Second, Lal Kitab Ke Arman in 1940. Third, Gutka in 1941. Fourth, Lal Kitab Tarmim Shuda in 1942. And finally, Ilme Samudra Ki Bunyad Par Chalne Wali Jyotish Ki Lal Kitab in 1952. These were published in red hardcover binding, hence the name Lal, Red Kitab book. The origins before Pandit Joshi remain shrouded in mystery, with competing narratives. One story suggests that copper scripts written in Urdu and Persian were discovered at a Lahore construction site in the 18th or 19th century and were interpreted by Pandit Giridhari Lal Sharma, who was supposedly Rupchand Joshi's cousin. Another theory claims that the knowledge in Lal Kitab came from Brahmins who migrated from eastern India, Gar and Kamrupa regions, to Punjab between the 9th and 12th centuries, preserving ancient knowledge that wasn't influenced by foreign invaders. What's notable is that unlike traditional Vedic texts, which typically name their sage authors and have a documented lineage of commentary, Lal Kitab emerged relatively recently without clear attribution to ancient authorities. This historical context is crucial for understanding its relationship to Vedic tradition. Lal Kitab's approach differs significantly from classical Vedic astrology in several key ways. First, it combines astrology with palmistry in a system called Samudrik Shastra, suggesting that planetary positions in a birth chart should correspond with specific lines on a person's palm. This integration of two separate disciplines is not found in classical Vedic texts. Second, Lal Kitab treats house positions as primary, largely ignoring the zodiacal signs that are fundamental to Vedic astrology. As search result 14 notes, Lal Kitab has considered the ascendant as Aries and has given the results from whichever house the planets are placed in. Third, it disregards several techniques central to Vedic astrology, including retrograde planetary motion, the moon ascendant chart, dasha and antardasha systems for timing events, and divisional charts like the Navamsha. Fourth, it introduces concepts not found in classical texts, such as blind planets, where planets don't behave according to their typical nature based on house placement. Fifth, its remedial approach is distinctly different. While traditional Vedic astrology prescribes mantras, yantras, and specific ritual procedures, Lal Kitab emphasizes simple, often symbolic acts like feeding animals, donating specific items, or wearing certain colors. Sixth, it uses an entirely different system for annual predictions. Instead of the traditional Vedic Varshafala, Lal Kitab has its own unique numerical system for creating yearly charts. These differences are so substantial that some practitioners consider Lal Kitab a separate system altogether rather than a branch of Vedic astrology. As search result 12 states, the astrology of Lal Kitab is different from astrology we know of, be it Eastern, Western, or of any origin. Despite its differences, proponents claim Lal Kitab has authentic Vedic roots. Let's examine these claims critically. Some suggest that Lal Kitab represents Samudrik Shastra, or oceanic knowledge, preserved through oral traditions. However, classical Vedic texts like Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra don't mention combining palmistry and astrology in the manner Lal Kitab does. The most concrete connection appears to be the use of the same 9 planets, Navagrahas, as in Vedic astrology. The claim that Lal Kitab originated from Brahmins who migrated from eastern India to Punjab between the 9th and 12th centuries lacks historical documentation. Some sources suggest Persian or Arabic influences, noting that the book may have been called the Red Book of Persia. The remedies in Lal Kitab show some connection to Hindu deities, associating planets with gods like Vishnu, Sun, Shiva, Moon, and Ganesha, Ketu. A balanced assessment suggests that Lal Kitab likely represents a syncretic development that draws partially from Vedic concepts while incorporating elements from other traditions. Despite questions about its Vedic authenticity, Lal Kitab's popularity stems largely from its practical approach and accessible remedies. Let's examine what makes it so appealing. The remedies are remarkably simple and affordable. Instead of elaborate yagyas, fire ceremonies, or expensive gemstones often prescribed in traditional Vedic astrology, Lal Kitab recommends actions like feeding birds or animals associated with specific planets, donating everyday items to the needy, floating specific items in flowing water, and wearing particular colors on certain days. This accessibility makes astrological remedies available to everyone, regardless of economic status or access to priests. As search result 13 notes, Lal Kitab offers simple, practical remedies. It avoids complex rituals. The focus on immediate action rather than philosophical understanding appeals to those seeking practical solutions. Lal Kitab emphasizes kriya, action, over ritual, encouraging people to take charge of their lives through simple behaviors. Results are often described as quick and tangible. While traditional Vedic remedies might work over longer periods, Lal Kitab remedies are reputed to show effects more rapidly, satisfying the modern desire for immediate results. The system is also relatively simple to apply. As search result 14 explains, I find this is the simplest form, as so much precision of birth time is not required. This makes it accessible even when exact birth times are unknown, a common challenge in traditional Vedic astrology. These practical advantages explain why many modern astrologers incorporate Lal Kitab remedies into their practice, even when they primarily follow Vedic traditions in their predictive work. The simplicity and affordability of these remedies fulfill a genuine need for accessible spiritual practices in contemporary society. From an academic perspective, how should we understand Lal Kitab's relationship to Vedic tradition? Scholars of religious studies often note that traditions evolve over time, with new practices emerging that claim ancient roots. This is a common pattern in religious and spiritual traditions worldwide. Lal Kitab appears to be what scholars might call a recent tradition, a system that emerged in the modern era but draws legitimacy from claimed connections to ancient knowledge. This doesn't necessarily invalidate its insights or efficacy, but places it in a different historical category than texts like the Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra. The historical context is significant. Lal Kitab emerged during a period of cultural transition in Punjab, when traditional knowledge systems were adapting to colonial influences and modernization. Its emergence in Urdu rather than Sanskrit reflects this cultural context. From a comparative perspective, Lal Kitab appears to simplify and democratize astrological knowledge, making it accessible to ordinary people without requiring extensive Sanskrit learning or ritual expertise. This parallels similar movements in other religious traditions during the same period. The combination of astrology and palmistry represents what scholars call syncretism, the blending of different traditions or practices into a new system. Rather than being purely Vedic, Lal Kitab might better be understood as a syncretic development that emerged from a multicultural environment. Some scholars suggest that Lal Kitab represents an important adaptation of astrological practice to modern needs, offering simpler, more practical solutions than traditional systems while maintaining connections to older cosmological frameworks. As we conclude our exploration of Lal Kitab and its relationship to Vedic tradition, several insights emerge. First, Lal Kitab appears to be a relatively recent development that emerged in the early 20th century rather than an ancient Vedic text. Its current form was compiled by Pandit Rup Chand Joshi between 1939 and 1952, making it considerably younger than classical Vedic texts. Second, while it incorporates elements from Vedic astrology, particularly the 9 planets and their general significations, it differs significantly in methodology, interpretation, and remedial approaches. Its integration of astrology with palmistry and its unique predictive techniques represent substantial innovations. Third, its popularity stems largely from practical advantages: simplicity, affordability, and accessibility, rather than claims of Vedic authenticity. In a complex world, its straightforward remedies fulfill a genuine need for accessible spiritual practices. This doesn't mean Lal Kitab is without value. Many traditions evolve and adapt over time, and innovations can sometimes offer fresh insights or make ancient wisdom more relevant to contemporary needs. The test of any spiritual system ultimately lies in its ability to guide practitioners toward greater harmony, understanding, and well-being. Perhaps the wisest approach is to appreciate Lal Kitab for what it is: a creative adaptation of astrological principles that emerged in a specific cultural context, while maintaining awareness of its distinct relationship to classical Vedic traditions. This balanced understanding allows us to benefit from its insights without misrepresenting its historical position. For those seeking to explore traditional Vedic astrology, visit austriaviennapuja.com for resources that honor the rich diversity of astrological traditions. Thank you for joining us in this exploration of Lal Kitab's mystery, mythology, and modern relevance.